Ever dream of an office with a view, a really, really good view? We're talking snow-capped peaks, crisp mountain air, the works. Today's deep dive is all about what it takes to become a ski instructor. And trust me, the reality is just as fascinating as the postcard image. We've got excerpts from RoleCatcher's Ski Instructor, the complete career guide to break it all down, ready to hit the
You
slopes.
carve into it.
So I dove into this guide, expecting the usual stuff about nailing black diamond runs, but what surprised me was the emphasis on people skills. It almost sounded like being a therapist as much as an athlete.
That's precisely what separates the good instructors from the truly great ones. You see, teaching someone to ski isn't just about conveying technical know-how. It's about building trust, managing expectations, and often calming nerves. Think about it. You could be dealing with a 5-year-old who's never seen snow, or an adult who's terrified of heights.
Suddenly, that black diamond doesn't seem so intimidating anymore, right? What stood out to you in the guide's description of those interpersonal skills?
The guide actually highlighted something that really resonated with me: the ability to adapt your teaching style on the fly. Every student is different with their own learning pace, fears, and goals. So a rigid one-size-fits-all approach just won't cut it. This got me thinking about how crucial active listening is in this profession. It's not just about barking out instructions, it's about observing body language, picking up on cues, and tailoring your approach to meet the individual needs of each student. That requires a high degree of emotional intelligence, something you don't always associate with a job that takes place outdoors.
It's almost like being a coach and a counselor rolled into one. Speaking of adapting, I was fascinated by the guide section on how technology is transforming ski instruction. I had no idea video analysis and even VR simulators were being used in this field.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine this: a student finishes a run, and instead of just getting verbal feedback, they can watch a replay of themselves, pinpointing exactly where their form could improve. That level of visual feedback can be incredibly impactful, especially for those who learn best by seeing rather than just hearing.
It's like having a game film session, but for skiing. And what about these VR simulators? Are we talking about strapping on a headset and suddenly you're careening down a virtual mountain?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
While nothing can fully replace the feeling of real snow under your skis, VR simulators provide a safe and controlled environment to learn those foundational skills. It's especially useful for beginners who might be intimidated by the real deal, or for practicing specific techniques in a risk-free setting.
So you can work out those beginner jitters before hitting the actual slopes. That makes a lot of sense.
And from an instructor's perspective, these simulators can be incredibly valuable teaching tools. They can control the environment, the terrain, even the weather conditions, allowing them to focus on specific skills and create customized training scenarios for their students. It's about maximizing learning potential even before setting foot on a real mountain.
Okay, so we've established that being a ski instructor is about way more than just being a strong skier. You need those people skills, adaptability, and a willingness to embrace technology. But I'm curious about the career path itself. The guide mentioned different levels of instructors, right?
Absolutely. It's not like you automatically become a seasoned instructor overnight. There's a clear progression with each stage building upon the last, kind of like earning your stripes on the slopes.
I like that, earning your stripes on the slopes. So where do aspiring instructors typically begin their journey?
The guide breaks it down into a few distinct stages. Most instructors start as trainees, which is where you gain those all-important foundational skills. Think of it as your apprenticeship on the slopes.
Apprenticeship. I like that. So you're learning the ropes from more seasoned instructors. What does that actually look like day to day? It does sound a lot like an old school apprenticeship, learning the craft from the ground up. What kind of tasks would a trainee instructor be handling?
Well, at this stage, it's less about leading your own classes and more about providing support to those seasoned instructors you mentioned.
Yeah.
A trainee might assist with demonstrations, help beginners get fitted with equipment, maybe even build a little confidence by skiing alongside them on those bunny slopes. It's about soaking up knowledge and gaining practical experience in a real-world setting.
So paying your dues, observing the pros, and probably dealing with the occasional equipment malfunction or runaway toddler, right?
You got it. It's all part of the learning process. But the guide emphasizes that safety is absolutely paramount, especially at this early stage. Trainees are expected to have a thorough understanding of alpine safety protocols, from recognizing hazards on the mountain to administering basic first aid.
Safety first, always a good motto, especially in an environment like that. Now, once a trainee has proven themselves, what's the next rung on the ladder?
That's where you transition from assisting to instructing. The guide refers to this next stage as junior ski instructor, and it's where you really start to hone those teaching muscles. Junior instructors typically work with individuals or small groups, focusing on those fundamental skiing skills. Think basic turns, stopping techniques, and of course, building confidence on the slopes.
So it's all about nurturing a love for the sport in those early stages. It occurs to me that not every incredible skier would have the patience and communication skills to be a good teacher, especially to beginners who might be feeling a bit unsure of themselves.
You've hit the nail on the head. A good junior ski instructor needs to be a people person as much as a skiing enthusiast. They need to be able to break down complex movements into digestible steps, provide encouragement and constructive feedback, and perhaps, most importantly, create a fun and supportive learning environment. You want those first-time skiers to leave with a smile on their faces, eager to hit the slopes again.
It's about fostering that passion, isn't it? Creating skiers for life, not just for a day. Now, the guide also mentioned something about equipment at this stage, right?
Yes, that's another key responsibility of a junior ski instructor. They need to have a good understanding of ski and snowboard equipment and be able to guide their students on choosing the right gear. Think about it: if your boots are too tight or your skis are the wrong length, it can make a huge difference in terms of comfort and performance.
It's all connected, isn't it? The right instruction, the right equipment, and the right attitude all play a part in creating a positive experience on the slopes. So once an instructor has mastered those foundational teaching skills and equipment knowledge, what's the next step up?
That's where things start to get really interesting. The guide refers to this next level as intermediate ski instructor, and as the name suggests, it involves working with skiers who are ready to take their skills to the next level.
Okay, so we're moving beyond the bunny slopes and into more challenging terrain.
Precisely. Intermediate instructors work with both individuals and larger groups, teaching more advanced techniques like parallel turns, carving, and navigating different types of terrain. They might also start to introduce students to specialized disciplines, like mogul skiing or even basic park features.
That sounds like the point where you as an instructor really get to see your students progress and start to develop their own unique styles. Must be rewarding, but also, I imagine, pretty demanding in terms of technical knowledge and experience.
Absolutely. Intermediate instructors need to be highly skilled skiers themselves, comfortable demonstrating techniques in a variety of conditions. But they also need to be adept at analyzing their students' skiing, identifying areas for improvement, and providing clear and effective feedback. It's about refining technique, building confidence, and pushing students to reach their full potential on the slopes.
It's a lot like coaching in that sense, a keen eye for detail and the ability to communicate those nuances to your students. And this level, I'm guessing, is where those tech tools we talked about earlier, like video analysis, would really come into play.
Yeah, 100%. At this stage, instructors might use video analysis to break down a student's form, highlighting areas for improvement in a way that's both visual and objective. They might also use their knowledge of different equipment setups to help students fine-tune their gear for optimal performance. It's about taking the more personalized approach to instruction, recognizing that each student learns and progresses at their own pace.
Personalized learning on the slopes, who knew? So we've climbed from trainee to junior instructor to intermediate what awaits those who aspire to reach the peak of the ski instruction mountain.
The guide refers to this pinnacle as senior ski instructor, and it's a position that commands a great deal of respect within the industry.
Okay, let's unpack that. What sets a senior ski instructor apart from the rest? What does it take to reach that level of expertise and recognition? So we're at the summit, senior ski instructor. What does that title entail in the world of ski instruction?
At this level, you're not just an instructor. You're a mentor, a leader, and often a specialist in a particular area of skiing. You might train other instructors, develop specialized programs, or work with competitive skiers to shave milliseconds off their race times.
It's like becoming the professor of skiing. Instead of just teaching the basics, you're shaping the next generation of instructors or working with athletes at the top of their game. What kind of specialized knowledge or skills would a senior ski instructor need to have under their belt?
Well, many senior instructors choose to specialize in a particular discipline, like freestyle skiing, adaptive skiing for people with disabilities, or backcountry skiing. This often requires additional certifications and training beyond the standard certifications we talked about earlier. For instance, the guide mentioned an alpine safety certification, which is pretty standard, but imagine taking that to the next level, maybe even becoming certified to teach avalanche awareness and rescue techniques for those backcountry enthusiasts.
That makes sense. The higher you climb, the more specialized your expertise becomes. But beyond the technical skills, I imagine there's a certain leadership quality that comes into play at the senior level.
Absolutely. Senior instructors often play a key role in mentoring less experienced instructors, sharing their knowledge, providing guidance, and helping them navigate the challenges of the profession. It's about paying it forward and ensuring the quality of instruction remains high across the board.
It sounds like a pretty incredible career path for the right person. Someone who loves to ski, has a passion for teaching, and thrives in a dynamic environment. But before we wrap up our deep dive, there's one more aspect of RoleCatcher's Guide that caught my eye. They dedicate a whole section to navigating the job market, and I'm curious to hear your take on their advice, especially for aspiring instructors who might be wondering how to actually land their dream job at a ski resort.
It's a competitive field, that's for sure.
Hmm.
But RoleCatcher offers some pretty insightful tips. One thing they emphasize is the importance of tailoring your CV. That's your curriculum vitae for those unfamiliar with the acronym to each specific job application.
So no generic one-size-fits-all resumes.
Exactly. It's about highlighting the skills and experience that are most relevant to the specific role in the ski resort you're applying to. For instance, if a resort is known for its family-friendly atmosphere, you'd want to emphasize your experience working with children and your ability to create a fun and engaging learning environment.
So it's about doing your homework, researching the resort, and crafting a narrative that resonates with their values and priorities. What other gems did you unearth from RoleCatcher's job hunting treasure chest?
They also highlight the importance of networking, attending industry events, and reaching out to instructors or resort staff to learn more about potential job opportunities.
So putting yourself out there, making those connections, and demonstrating a genuine enthusiasm for the industry.
Precisely. It's all about passion and initiative qualities that are highly valued in the world of ski instruction.
It sounds like becoming a ski instructor is about so much more than just being able to ski well. It's about combining your technical skills with your interpersonal skills, your love of the sport, with a genuine desire to teach and share that passion with others. And it seems like RoleCatcher's Guide provides a pretty comprehensive roadmap for anyone considering this unique and rewarding career path. So whether you're dreaming of fresh powder and breathtaking views, or you're simply looking for a career that challenges and inspires you, this deep dive has hopefully given you a taste of what it takes to become a ski instructor. And who knows, maybe we've even inspired a few future instructors to start practicing their snowclide turns.